Hello, and welcome to the April 2022 edition of Next Stop News, a series created to inform the transit community about transit events occurring within the systems. Here's what we'll be discussing in this month's installment. On February 25th, it was announced that 24 R32s were being prepared for scrap, 4 of which were at South Brooklyn Yard, those being R32s 3878 to 79 and 3928 to 29. Which became the first 2 sets to officially be scrapped since the Great Retirement of 2009. They were dispatched from the 36th to 38th Street yards to the 3rd Avenue yard via tow on February 27th, stripped and then inherited by the New York and New Jersey Railroad. Before they had the chance to be loaded onto a barge, by March 11th, they were graphed up in one last blaze of glory. They made their cross-country journey to Ohio in order to be scrapped, being spotted on flatbeds on March 16th, still in New York. Credit to the Grog and River Rail photos for the imagery. Those 4 cars weren't the only ones to be scrapped, however. On March 3rd, R32s 3432 to 33, 3452 to 53, and 3522 to 23 were reported at the 36th to 38th Street yards. This process is surely continuing as we speak. All the rest of the R32s, with some exceptions, will be meeting this fate in the future. After completing a series of electromagnetic interference tests out of Coney Island Yard on the N line, the R211 returned to Pitkin Yard, performed testing in the Rockaways throughout late February and March, using the R42 as a protection train, and then went back to Coney Island Yard's overhaul shop on April 3rd for component upgrades. As each month goes by, its entry to service becomes more imminent. Burn-in testing awaits, and its 30-day acceptance test in the summer. To keep the momentum of nostalgia going after the narrowly successful R32 experiment, the MTA announced that they'd run the low Vs on April 7th, which got postponed to April 8th. The 4-car low V ran from Grand Central to Yankee Stadium for the Yankees' opening day, starting from 11 a.m. They were initially going to run the Redbirds on April 15th, but it was later merged with the low V run to ease crowding, and since they couldn't run it on the Flushing line due to construction. They transferred a 6-car Trainer Mini Colors from 207th Street Yard on April 7th in preparation for the event. With that, the Subway Series is officially back. TTMG has been on point with the rosters. Keep up the good work, guys. Gun Hill stole 27 LFS HEVs from the Manhattanville pool, those being listed here. They now have various types of LFS HEVs, those being 9600s, base and option 9700s, and 9800s. This has created an absolute confuddle in the order. Making a correction to last month's update, 9840, 48, and 58 were not delivered to Kingsbridge but to Gun Hill. Therefore, Kingsbridge has 30 LFS HEVs, 17 bases, and 13 options, which were initially for Manhattanville. 9688 was not delivered to Kingsbridge, as it was a glitch. Gun Hill used the stolen HEVs to solidify 3983, 4066, and 4089 statuses as training buses at Zariga to retire 4390, 4414, and 4418, and to send 4388 to 89, 4417, 22, 50, 53, 4540 to 41 to LaGuardia. They also sent 4332 and 38 to Baisley Park, which I somewhat didn't expect, given that they hadn't received any next gens for a while. 4543 is also at Zariga. This reduced their total to 15 next gens, 4 being training. Many of those haven't run for a while. One last note for you Gun Hill fans. The depot was recently announced to be slated for electric conversion, likely LFSE pluses in the future. As a result, we now know that Charleston, Jamaica, East New York, Grand, Quill, Gun Hill, and Kingsbridge are all slated to go electric by 2026. Kingsbridge used the stolen HEVs to send 8 units, 4368, 75 to 76, 79 to 80, 82, and 86 to 87 to LaGuardia to retire more old gens there. 4371, 77, and 81 became training buses at Zariga, while 4378 and 4391 were retired. This left Kingsbridge with 8 next gens, 4112, 4115, 4370, 4373 to 74, 4383, 4421, and 4444. The latter 2 were initially presumed dead, but were reactivated after the snowstorm of February 25th. I like how the Bronx depots hijacked all these HEVs and they still aren't enough to retire all the next gens. I blame 3 factors for this cluster of confusion. Ida's fleet impact on Gun Hill, the LFS HEV's delays and shutdowns, and the DOB's incompetence. You couldn't have actually sent them their actual allotment? Manhattanville retired 3843 and sent 4003 to 4004, 4075, and 4277 to Queens Village, the first time they have sent Nextions there since October. They also sent 4041, 4246, 4258, and 4260 and 4354 to JFK. 4059 was mistaken as a move to Fresh Pond, but this was later verified to be a glitch. In the days following, they sent the following units out as well. They now have 35 Hawkers and 65 Lithiums, 100 Nextions in total. Things are really starting to heat up. The depot was at a stalemate in the beginning of March due to the foolishness of the Department of Buses. They had 110 LFS HEVs and 125 Nextions, roughly half and half. On March 22nd, they had 120 blue and gold buses and 122 Nextions. They probably have around 175 LFS HEVs and 60 Nextions right now, if it were not for the MTA's meddling. All hope was not lost, however. Manhattanville later received 9685, 87 to 90, 92, 9704, 4392, 97, 9813, 15, 17, 19, 21 to 22, 26, 37 to 38, 47, 61, 65, 67, 75, 78, 80, 83, and 89, keeping their total well above 100. There may have been units I forgot to mention simply because they received so many. Nova finally mashed on the accelerator. From March 7th onwards, Manhattanville did a highly unexpected swap with Quill, receiving 22 2022 XDE40s, 9420 to 23, 9425 to 9437, 9440 to 43, 9446, and 9 2021 XDE40s, 9590 to 9598, which is 31 units in total. The first units to arrive were 9432 and 9597. Some say that this was done solely for training purposes, so that each depot knows how to use the opposite fleet during snow loans. I, however, feel somewhere that this could be a permanent transfer. Both parties put their stickers on the swap units, and continue to send more units to each other as each day went by. I feel that this is the best decision that the Department of Buses has made in a very long time. This ensures that if a future issue occurs with the LFS HEVs, Manhattanville has a secondary fleet to fall back upon. This plan is very reminiscent of the original plan, to send 15 Bay XDE40s in the base order to Manhattanville and 74 LFS HEVs to Quill, back when Manhattanville was only scheduled for 152 LFS HEVs. When those units were reassigned to Hale, the XDE40s it was later assumed that Manhattanville would use the 84 XDE40 option order to plug the gap after the LFS HEVs were delivered. Department of Buses seems to be reverting back to that intention. It is unknown how many XDE40s Manhattanville will receive after this, but rumors have it that they will indulge in all of Quill's allotted option, 46 units in total, or they could just stay where they're at now. Michael J. Quill wasn't playing. They retired Nextions 3800 to 3801, 3803, 05, 17 to 18, 3901 to 3902, 3905 to 3908, 3910 to 11, 3913 to 3916, 18, 21, 28, 35, 38, 41, 20, 28, and 36 to 37. They sent 3934, 36, 4118, and 4125 to Hale. 3904 and 3930 were sent to Manhattanville for parts, and 4126 was sent to Tuskegee, while 4012 and 4171 were sent to JFK, bringing Quill's ultimate Next-Gen total to 1 Lithium and 13 Hawkers. In the aforementioned fleet swap with Manhattanville, they received 9665 to 9674, 9676, 78, 80, 83 to 85, 91, 93 to 94, 97 to 9702, 04, 07, 10 to 13, 17 to 18, and 26, 33 units in total. 9684 and 9726 were the first units to go to Quill, with 9726 experiencing many issues ranging from sign and fare box problems to a safety-threatening pressure drop while in service. Later on, we saw 9685 with a broken kneeler. That thing looked ridiculous. It looked like a racing horse in my opinion. It was insane. Quill got the worst end of the deal in my opinion, but it is nice seeing a glimpse of the original assignments take place. Again, it is unknown how many LFS HEVs Quill will receive in total, but some feel like they may receive 46. Or they might revert to the original assignment and receive 74 to 76 LFS HEVs. Again, they might stay where they are right now. Again, we don't even know if this swap is permanent. Recall that the depot received all its missing units between 9417 to 61, with 9444 not yet being in service, but many of them were then shifted to Manhattanville in the trade. They therefore have 44 XDE40s right now. After regaining confidence in the LFS HEVs, Tuskegee retired 3924, 27, 3937, and 4124, and sent lithium loans 4121 and 4123 to Hale on March 10th, officially ending the era of next-gen loans due to the LFS HEV shutdown in October. Tuskegee received lithium next-gens 4088, 4126, 4251-52, and 4278, and sent 3932 to West Farms for parts before it was subsequently retired. Again, more stuff could be retired that I might not necessarily know about. My last note on the Nova HEVs is, however, that the MTA has officially acknowledged their complications due to the door issues, air compressor wiring, and a recurring engine code. The latter two I was unaware of. The air compressor problem explains 9685 and 9726's difficulties, however. There were also other issues such as battery problems, HVAC, interior and exterior sign, tracking problems, parking problems, and in-service shutoffs. They also acknowledged a 3 to 4 month delay with the order. One correction, however, it was actually 7 to 8 months. They were all supposed to be in by September of last year. They say that the delay was caused by COVID, a supply chain shortage, and technical issues. More specifically, I'd say HVAC issues in June, door issues in October, production slows from March 2021 to February of 2022, and Omicron last winter. Even then, these buses and the delivery thereof was still sloppily rushed. MTA now expects them to deliver all the rest of the order by the end of this month. Haha, I'd like to see that. Either way, I'd win. If I'm proven right, I get more time to fan the Manhattanville next gens. If I'm proven wrong, we finally get to complete this years-long order. My goodness, man. We received 9622 back in November of 2020, and as of March 31st, Manhattanville has had LFS HEVs in their fleet for a year. I mean, hey, Nova has messed up my own personal psyche by attempting to make failure acceptable. It's way past time to wrap this up so that Nova can fully focus on pumping out those diesels to Queens. Mother Clara Hale committed a war crime, retiring Spectrum NextGens 4254-55 once they received extra Hawkers. They also retired Hawker NextGens 3824-25, 36, 51, 76, 91, 3934, and 3958. All this was done before a single option arrived at the depot. Then, Hale received their final base order unit 9562 on March 20th, and their first option unit 9462 on March 28th, which entered service on March 30th on the M7. Ironic. This was refreshing to hear, as it means that Hale will not be dragged into the madness that is taking place between Manhattanville and Quill. Between late March and April, they received 9463-70, 72, 74-78, and 81-82, as well as 9485, bringing their total to 48 XDE40s, 18 of which are options. Most of the rest of Hale's option allotment is at the JFK vendor on standby. Prepare for a next-gen slaughterfest at this depot. 4123 and 4273 were already sent out, leaving the 4 following lithiums at the depot. With the 3 next-gens at Queensvillage from Manhattanville, the depot's total of next-gens is now 65, since 4,000 may be retired. The depot retired 6858 and 6889, dropping their total of old gens to 31. Then, something very unexpected happened. Right after I made mockery of Nova for expecting to deliver the MTA bus diesels in November, not only was a Conehead announced to be at Zariga, it was also revealed to be a unit outside of the 8700 series. The unit I'm referring to is 8842, which arrived to Zariga on March 14th. It was also announced to be assigned to Queensvillage instead of Stengel, and was delivered to Queensvillage on March 15th. 8829, 34-35, 37-41, 44, 49-50, 56, 60, and 62-63, 15 more units, were also delivered to the depot between March and April. Queensvillage's batch of buses was prioritized, at least 3/5 of it, in order to retire all 31 remaining old gens at the depot. They have currently retired the units listed below. The current Conehead assignments are 8755 to 8814 to Jamaica, 8815 to 71 to Queens Village, and 8872 to 8963 to Casey Stengel. No later than 3 days after their delivery, on March 25th, 2 of Queens Village's units, 8842 and 49, were diverted to Stengel for training. The 209 Conehead order is now a Queens order only as a result of the assignment change. The 20 units that were supposed to go to Castleton were diverted to Stengel and Queens Village. Now, with 92 units assigned instead of 79, Stengel will be able to replace all of their next gens. With 57 units assigned instead of 50, Queens Village will be able to shift out a few more units as well. There will be a temporary golden age at Stengel, where they will run Orions, Novas, and New Flyers at the same time in their standard fleet together, and where Queens Village will have 2 types of Orions, Spectrums included, and 4 types of Novas simultaneously. Man, fanning Jamaica is going to be fun. We haven't seen this much fleet diversity at Casey Stengel since 2016, nor at Queens Village since 2019. Stengel also received some 2017 XD60s from Tuskegee. Department of Buses still seems to be very inebriated. If I were them, I would have sent the select bus service units that have been at Tuskegee since the fall. But this is very reminiscent of the days when 5987 bore the non-select bus service scheme. On March 29th, a draft of the Queens Bus Redesign Plan was released. Within it were a lot of changes, some which happened to be found unfavorable. A lot of new local, select, and express routes will be added when the redesign takes place, inevitably resulting in a lot of interesting depot and fleet shifts. There have been cutbacks, however, reroutes, and even extensions. For some reason, I see Stengel having a massive hand in this particularly. Here is a list of depots I want the new routes to be assigned to. Here's the list of routes getting cut from each depot, and here's my speculation on how these changes shall affect MTA Bus. For more information concerning the Queens Bus redesign, check out the video in the pinned messages of the comments section. I discuss the entire plan more in depth there. Going back to Castleton, on March 25th, we learned that Castleton is no longer in the running for any Coneheads at all, hence making any future visits to Staten Island pointless for me until the R211S arrives. Perhaps with the rate that Castleton is crashing and damaging their current newest standard buses, the 2019 LFSs, is probably for the best. The buses that they received to replace those damaged in the flooding will be sticking around for a while. 10 third gens were affected overall, but 7001, 7076, and 7086 were the only ones to be fixed after the flood. 8221, 36, 44, 46, 8400, 8703, and 14 were also fixed. Now that 7047, 49, 54, 58, 65, 71, and 7073 are officially retired, and now that 8702, 04, and 09 have not returned yet from their flooding as well as the accidents in March, the rest of the buses that they got from Gun Hill and Queens Village aren't going anywhere for a while. With their last Allison unit, 9512, being delivered and in service, East New York now has everything from 9510 to 9534 active. As a result, they retired next gens 3967, 3970, and 4103, reactivated 4550, and sent 4557 and 4588 to LaGuardia. They now have 47 next gens. Most of these will be handled once the depot receives their 40 2022 XD40s. Grand Avenue received their final Allison XDE 40s 95, 46, 49, 52 to 53, 56, and 59, completing their 25 bus allotment 95, 35 to 95, 59, and the Allison order as a whole. The last unit to be delivered was 95, 46 on March 25th. The last 2 units to hit service were 9552 and 9559. They sent 4530, 4566, and 4569 to 4570 to LaGuardia, leaving them with 15 next gens. I don't know why they're stubbornly retaining them. Grand Avenue, if you're listening, let them go already. We got old gens that need to be retired ASAP. There was also a bathroom scandal at this depot involving cameras, revealed on March 4th. 2021 XD40 7851 has now been gone for 2 months. 7852 to 7874 are on standby for delivery at any moment now, likely still to Fresh Pond. Flatbush retired 2009 NextGen 4593, their second NextGen so far to meet this fate. Lastly, one of Gleason C40LF's 484 got a new CNG roof cover on April 5th. Stay tuned for part 2 of April's update, which will be released tomorrow. Please subscribe, stay blessed, and thank you for riding with Next Stop News.